to get us started as we invite our attendees into our admissions morning.
Great, thanks, Adrienne. Good morning, everyone. I'm Amanda Avery. As Adrienne said, I am the Director of Admissions at Roycemore School. We're so happy to have you join us this morning. This is our final admissions morning of the summer. It's hard to believe that we're in August already and school is starting for us in just a few short weeks. We wanted to provide you with an opportunity to learn more about our school, as well as to hear from all of our administrators and of course Adrienne, our head of school, and some of our student and parent admissions ambassadors are here joining us as well, so that we can answer your questions and talk a little bit about our reentry program for the fall. We are very excited to be working closely with our health and safety task force. Our administrative and academic teams have developed reentry plans for both full day on campus and full day off campus learning for the fall. So we are very proud of our programs that we've developed and really excited to get the school year started. Like I said, with us today are members of our academic and administrative teams, parent and student ambassadors of our school who have been such amazing advocates for our programs. The Q&A is open, so you are welcome to type questions into the Q&A throughout the event. We will try to get to all of your questions. There may be a high volume, so you may find that your question is either answered within the chat or is answered live at the end of the event today and answered by some of our amazing administrators and parents and students. So I'm going to turn it over to Adrienne. She's going to share a presentation with you and we'll get to some questions in a little bit.
Thank you, Amanda, and welcome everyone. Let me join Amanda in welcoming everyone who's tuning in for our admissions morning. We're excited to share with you our plans for the fall. And I'm going to start sharing my screen so that we can go through those with you. And let's see. There we go. We are pleased to welcome you, to introduce you to Roycemore School. We are a school that runs from pre-K all the way through 12th grade on one campus here in Evanston, Illinois. And our motto, which goes back to our early days when we were founded in 1915, really is coming into play for us right now during this pandemic. The motto is Fortis et Prudens Simul. And I'm sure I didn't do the pronunciation exactly perfect there, but it means in Latin, strength and careful judgment go together. And that is definitely guiding us during this time of a pandemic. What is also guiding us are our core values. And let's see if I can get my screen to go. There we go. Our core values: respect, compassion, scholarship, integrity, and community, which is right there in the middle. They have been very, very important to us during these challenging times. And the trauma that ensued following the murder of George Floyd, who's just one of the most recent of countless others, sparked global protests and important calls for social justice and to acknowledge that Black lives matter. This has all been happening without the normal support that students get when they are in school. And we know that they are served best when they can be in school. And during our time of remote learning, we realized that what many of us think of as school has been challenged. But a critical element of our approach is that we are guided by these core values. And in this moment, we realize the importance of embracing our core values even more tightly. And that's why you see community, especially in the middle. And with all of the new procedures that we have in place, our goal is to make school feel as much like normal as possible, going above and beyond to support children. Learning should still be fun, as we know that the best learning happens not just from teacher to student, but among students as well. So we often focus on the more in Roycemore. And what is that? For us, it's providing opportunities for students to engage more. Our EAGLE program, which is empowering all Griffins to learn experientially, encompasses theme-based and project-based learning. It includes a special week in the lower school called Theme Week, when all 1st through 4th grade students work on projects around a specific theme topic. In addition, our personal passion projects, or P3, in middle school and January short term, now in its 47th year in high school, provide opportunities for students to pursue projects of their own interest, and it allows their learning to be deeper and longer lasting. And we also have a new EAGLE Hour launching on Tuesday afternoons this year that will provide time school-wide every week for special mini courses, from coding to cooking to basic finance to sketch comedy, and we're very excited about these. With such deep engagement, our students are able to achieve much more than they thought they ever could. And through our intentional program, students are supported to become the very best version of themselves. This is Roycemore. Also at Roycemore, we think a lot about how education needs to evolve and change. And I feel so fortunate to lead a school that's full of expert faculty who care deeply about students and who are supported by a board of trustees that are future focused. And together we're looking forward as to how we can adapt during a time of exponential change to ensure our students are immersed in an environment each and every day that will maximize the talent that they possess and develop in such a way as to reach their full potential in a world that is changing before our eyes. One is taking a Jenga approach. You know that game, Jenga, where you're pulling out blocks and keeping it from falling? Well, in a world where 90% of the data was created in the last 2 years, we clearly can't teach students everything. We must instead discern the key concepts that students must learn and only focus on content that serves those concepts. Then we must ensure that we are helping students amass a toolkit of skills to be able to understand and analyze those concepts, to think, to create, and to innovate. We call these skills power skills. A lot of people call them soft skills, but I've chosen to use power skills as our framework because these powerful skills, collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, communication, these are the skills that are going to transcend any particular career or discipline. They will enable any of us to really be leaders in our fields. And also emotional intelligence. We do focus a lot on the social emotional piece at Roycemore. And we believe that along with learning skills such as design thinking for problem solving is going to really empower young people to thrive in this vastly changing world. The World Economic Forum has outlined skills that are important to the future. And if you think about today's one-year-olds are going to graduate from high school in 2036. Gene editing, cybernetic integration with humans, service robots, these are some of the dramatic changes ahead for our children, and they require a rethinking of school and skills. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report surveyed companies across multiple industries around the world, and they identified proficiency in new technologies as one part of the 2020 skills equation, but also human skills such as creativity, originality, initiative, and creative problem solving as some of the most valuable skills of the future. So these power skills are going to be developed with our students in both pragmatic ways and innovative ways at our school. And there's more. Our long-standing partnership with Northwestern University is one of the differentiators for our school. We do have many families from Northwestern whose children attend here. Our high school students have the opportunity to take classes at Northwestern University as well. And we have many formal and informal partnerships with the Center for Talent Development, with the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, with the School of Education and Social Policy, and also our partnership with Adobe Corporation, where our students all have licenses to the full Creative Cloud suite of products to be able to learn those skills and utilize them for their creative communication. Another big aspect of Roycemore is focus on community. And as you saw, community was at the center of our core values. We have many traditions at Roycemore that really capitalize on the pre-K-12 experience. Obviously, this year in a pandemic, we're having to reimagine how some of those mentorships take place. But as soon as it's safe, a lot of these traditions in their original form will come right back in, such as polio, which is a school-wide celebration of athletic skills, our wassail, which is our bringing our whole school community together before the holidays, and carnival, which is a very fun event that our high school students put on for all of the younger students right around Halloween time. We have cross grade level and cross division interactions with mentoring and reading buddies that our young people love because they look up to the older kids like such superheroes in their minds. And for our older students, it gives them an opportunity to lead. And when you have students that range from 3-year-old through 18-year-old all in one building, it creates a culture that is very sweet and supportive and loving. And we also have the best mascot ever in our Griffin, this magical creature with the head of an eagle and the body of a lion. And we actually draw upon our Griffin as inspiration for our cultural motto we call Griffinity. And that is this ability to transcend time and space and to think about ways that we can leverage each other's talents and skill set and be bigger versions of ourselves for each other. The kind of environment that is created at Roycemore is one that is full of joy. And I'm always delighted when I see adolescents skipping through the building. And I don't know that that happens everywhere you go. The social emotional aspect of our program is something that's really emphasized, especially this year, as I said earlier. In our lower school, one of the guiding aspects is the Leader in Me program, which is based on Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In the middle school and upper school, it's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. And that framework serves as a foundation for our character education program. We also bring calm classroom and mindfulness into our program, recognizing that especially right now, we need to breathe deep and kind of ground ourselves every day before the day starts so that we're connected. And when we breathe, we reduce stress, we reduce anxiety, and then we are ready to learn. In our middle and upper school, we have advisory that provides these small group environments and a dedicated teacher for each student to have as their go-to person, much like a homeroom teacher in the lower school. And also in the middle school, every day starts in the grade level homeroom to start the day where we're addressing not only the social emotional aspect, but that executive functioning piece that's so important to our growth as young people. As I shared earlier, our learning environment is grounded in our core values, and it's so important to stay true to them and to create a climate that respects every member of our community. We respect and embrace each and every student for the unique individuals that they are, and we intentionally foster an environment of diversity, equity, and inclusion. As a small school, we have less opportunities for cliques, and students have to get to know each other. So we have an opportunity each and every day to choose how we interact with each other, and we can choose respect. We can choose love. And you don't often hear people talk about love in school, but we don't shy away from that because that is a huge part of what we believe is important. If people feel loved and known, then they are going to shine and be their best selves. And while we might look different on the outside, we're all griffins, and we have opportunities to intentionally engage in conversations around difference, and especially in this very polarized political environment, we need to be able to have safe spaces to be able to lean into that. And everything we do is within a framework of high expectations. Our rigorous academic program ensures students are ready for success after Roycemore. We have a very intentional and highly personalized college counseling program that's supporting where our students envision for themselves to be versus our own predetermined path for them. And it's academically focused with high expectations, but not competitive. The competitive nature really is within the students themselves. And we believe we can get from A to B, meaning that college admissions, without the pressure cooker that you might find in some other places. So this is an unusual and unprecedented time. And we know that there's a lot of hubris out there right now, a lot of noise. But for us at Roycemore, our first and foremost focus has been getting our teachers and students back to campus safely. And so all of our plans were developed after developing our health and safety plan. So that's our laser focus. And I'm deeply grateful to the 2 board-certified medical professionals who served on our health and safety task force, Dr. Anita Shah and Dr. Mahalakshmi Halasiamani, who've provided expert guidance of the development of our plan, and who, along with a number of members of our Board of Trustees and our Director of Finance and Operations, meet every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. So we just had our meeting this morning, of course, via Zoom, to continue to create, review, assess, and revise our plans as new understandings and new guidelines developed. And the plan is organized around 3 key points: protect, distance, and disinfect. The guiding principles are safety first, which is why we created the health and safety plan first. To plan for an on-campus experience, but being ready to go remote if government mandated closures dictate the need, if there's a positive case of COVID in one of the cohorts, or if factors in the internal or external environment indicate that it's prudent to transition to our remote learning option. We ground the social emotional into all that we do, and we've ramped up that school-wide in recognition of how difficult of a time this has been. And we also wanted to really provide options for our families. So there's an on-campus or off-campus option. And some families are choosing to hold space on campus until they feel that it's safe for their child to return. So they're starting the school off campus and then coming onto campus. Our on-campus plan provides for cohorting of our students into 4 different cohorts so that they don't mix. And those cohorts align with our divisions of the school: early childhood, lower school, middle school, and upper school. And we've designated space in the school for each cohort so that they're not mixing with each other. Also, we're really fortunate to have space in our school and our small school size that we can provide 6 feet of distance between the desks in the classrooms, and we have lots of outdoor space around the building where we can have outdoor classrooms. And I'll get into some of the details, more details of that in a moment. I mentioned that the off-campus option is also one, and our teachers transitioned to remote learning beautifully last spring, and they have built on what they have learned from that and participated in professional development over the summer to be even more ready for that if they need to do it. And in fact, because of the choice for on-campus or off-campus, nearly every grade has some students that are participating remotely. So our teachers are ready for this, and they knew that this was going to be an expectation of them back in the spring as we went into summer. We also have opened our high school classes, since they were all going to be having students participate, some on campus and some off campus. We decided to make our courses in the high school available to part-time students that could take up to 2 classes through our Roycemore online option this year. So that's something new that we're offering. As I mentioned, our program for on-campus learning and plan is defined and organized around protect, distance, and disinfect. From a protection standpoint, every person coming onto our campus, whether student, teacher, or if we have a contractor coming into the building, they will have to do a daily attestation of being symptom-free using our new app created by one of our rising seniors. And in fact, this app is now being adopted by schools across the country that he developed for us. So we're very excited about what we have available as this tool. Everyone in the building will be required to wear masks at all time. Supplies are being individualized this year. There's not the sharing of supplies. Lots of hand washing, and we will be focusing on that hygiene aspect, especially as we start back to school. Hand sanitizer when entering in the building, in between activities or classes, or washing your hands. And a contactless food service and lunch in classrooms or outdoors rather than in the dining hall this year. The next aspect is distance. As I mentioned, 6 feet of distance in the building. The cohorting, as I talked about, we're limiting the total size of students in each classroom and or cohort, again, based on the ability to provide that 6 feet of social distancing in the classroom. We also have designated zones outside of the school for each division of the school, and we've added camp chairs to the supply lists for this year. Unfortunately, this year we won't be having any large community gatherings. We know that this is not a year for that. We're re-envisioning that. And we also will be designating one-way movement in the stairwells so that students can, again, protect that distancing. And then the last piece is the disinfection. As I mentioned, the explicit hand washing and hygiene instruction and reinforcement, the hand sanitizing stations at each entrance to the building and in each hallway, enhanced nightly cleaning and disinfection, plus disinfection of high-touch surfaces during the day, and wiping down tables in each classroom between classes. So I've covered a lot in a short period of time, and you may be interested to learn more about how to take the next steps. And with this, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda Avery.
Thank you, Adrienne. That was a lot of information, very helpful. I'm hoping that that answered some questions for some of our attendees today. There's just a lot to consider as we start the school year and prepare for that. So if you haven't already, I recommend starting an application if you are interested. We are capping classes a bit smaller for on-campus learning due to the social distancing and taking into account the safety of our community and our students. So please do start the application process as soon as you can. Let me know if you have questions about that. I will reach out to you after today, of course, to follow up with you, but please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will have my email signature on the last page of our presentation today. But again, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm happy to schedule an individual phone chat with you or a video chat. So please know that I'm here for that. You can also take a virtual tour. We won't go through that today, but there is a virtual tour option on our website. We've created a really nice visual tour of our building without students inside of it. So if you haven't been inside of our building, and we are limiting visitors currently, just again, for the safety of our community and the social distancing. So please do consider taking a look at our virtual tour page on the website when you're able to do that. And the link is also here. And then, as Adrienne beautifully outlined, we have a very detailed health and safety plan, and we have academic reentry plans that are available for you to review. I've included the links here, but they're also on our website. Great, so I think we will move on to our Q&A. So if you've typed some questions in the chat, we will be reading those questions, but also feel free to unmute yourself and add your video back in if you are one of our amazing panelists, so that we can see your faces and we can get some questions answered. And my contact info is here, as well as is Adrienne's information. Great, so there's a question here. I'll read it aloud, and one of my administrative team members or one of our parents or students are welcome to answer the question. Are there any grade levels that no longer have spots open for the upcoming year, or do all still have spots? So that's a great question. I'll actually answer that one. So our 6th grade class was a very popular grade level this year for new applicants. And so currently we have entered a wait pool for on-campus spots for the 6th grade class. However, for classes that are full on campus, we are still considering students who apply and who are qualified for the grade level for off-campus spots. So the 6th grade is the one class that is completely full currently on campus, but we do still encourage you to apply for that grade level if you're interested. And again, of course, if your child applies and we feel that it might be a good fit for off campus, if a spot happens to open on campus, then we are able to also consider your child for an open on-campus spot. Many of the other grade levels are nearing the full point. So again, with school just starting in a few weeks, we do encourage you to start the application process as soon as you can. Some of our early childhood grade levels are very close to the kind of capped point for on-campus, just because, again, of our commitment to the distancing that we want to provide in the classrooms. It's a great question. Does anybody else want to add to that? Is there any of our division heads or anyone have anything to add there? All right. Well, we have some of our students here with us who are helping today, and some of our wonderful parents. And I'm not sure if anyone would like to share a little bit about your experience at the school. If you'd want to unmute yourself and turn your video on, we'd love to hear from you. Anybody?
Hi, so I'm a rising senior in high school at Roycemore, and I've actually been at Roycemore for all 3 divisions. I've been there for lower school, middle school, and 2 years of high school now. So just some things about my experience, I guess, academically, socially. So I find because of the small community, it's easier to put yourself out there extracurricular wise. So examples would be, I joined junior year from another school, and I immediately was leading like at least two activities. I was coordinating at least 2 activities, and now I'm going to found 2 clubs this year, and that's just something that's kind of hard to gain the confidence to do at another school because of student body size. And I feel like it was easier here. And so there's a lot of opportunity in the community to lead and put yourself out there and do what you really want to do rather than what you think is expected of you. And there's a lot to expand on too, so you can not only give back to the high school community but also to the middle school community and the lower school community. And Roycemore, from my experience, has a really good way of connecting high schoolers with lower schoolers. From my experience, at least, like I co-lead math club for lower schoolers once a week, so I'm working with lower schoolers and sometimes middle schoolers, so I have contact with other divisions. It's not that I'm restricted to just my high school peers. Academic wise, there's a lot of wiggle room to do what you want to do based on your future career interests or just on your general interests. Because there's no competition to go to a class or there's no cap for a class, it's very easy to formulate a schedule that matches to what you want to do. And there's no it's very rare that a class won't work out for you or isn't available, because there's always the Northwestern option, which I'm going to be a part of the dual enrollment program for senior year. I'm taking single integral variable calculus. So it's very you can kind of work different ways and find out how to like explore different subjects, and you're not really restricted. The courses here aren't like normal advanced honors. It's more because of the student body size. The regular class is technically honors or accelerated. So even if you aren't at an accelerated pace and you are enrolled in a course that's maybe going too fast for you, the teacher will work, like I can guarantee they will work with you separately to make sure that your needs are being met and that you're working according to your pace as well as the classes. And there's a lot of the teachers do help you move along your pace rather than pushing you along with the rest of the class because of the student body size. Again, each class, from my experience, I've had 5 people in my class to for in-person learning. I've had 5 people in my class to around 15 or 11 as the most. And I think that's like way smaller and way more intimate than other school experiences that I've had. And it really helps in a lot of ways, not just student-led discussions, but having because for some people it's hard to gain the courage to go to a teacher and ask questions and gain that relationship. And it really helps for your letter of recommendations, because not only will the teacher know you as a student who gets like good grades, but as a student as a whole, like the other things you do in the community, because it's so small, it's hard to not know you. And there's also a lot of fun project-based activities that we have in high school. We have this thing called January Short Term, which is a 3-week period where students and faculty take time off to just conduct projects of personal interest. Sometimes there's set projects that teachers coordinate, and there's student-led projects that you can just coordinate. And this is like anything you want to do. If you want to just volunteer and you have a purpose and you have a faculty member who's willing to sponsor you, then you can do it for 3 weeks and make a digital portfolio for yourself. Like I shadowed my orthopedic oncologist. It's very simple. You just do whatever you want to do as long as you're really exploring your interests and you have something that you're gaining out of it. And I feel like you can't get that at any other school. Especially you're getting to do this in the school year. And Northwestern's connection with Roycemore is also very efficient, I feel like, because not only can you take courses there, but there's a lot of contacts for students who are like science oriented or like language oriented. They want to learn a new language or they want to do research in a topic. They can find contacts through division heads and just find a way to do something at Northwestern if they don't have any other contacts. So I feel like that's also a really big plus to the high school experience at Roycemore.
Thank you, Emrina, for all of that great information. I really appreciate you sharing that, and I'm sure many of those people joining us gained a bit more information that they didn't know before. So thank you so much for sharing that. There's two questions in the chat that are semi-related. I'm going to actually ask Adrian to answer them, and I will read them here. The first is about the CPS announcement, which just happened, I think, yesterday. And the question is, does today's or yesterday's CPS announcement impact Roycemore's decision regarding on-campus learning approach? And then the second part of the second question was related to our summer camp programs. What reentry lessons have we learned from the camp program that have evolved our approach for the fall? So kind of a two-part question, but I think related.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, great questions. Certainly, we are watching closely the landscape as it evolves around us. As I shared in our presentation, our Health and Safety Task Force meets every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. And as part of that process, we are looking at the both internal landscape here at Roycemore and what's happening around us in the external landscape. And we will be making data-driven decisions with respect to whether we feel we can safely operate here on campus. Also, part of our approach will be prioritizing on-campus learning for our youngest learners. We, I'm sure, have all seen the studies that have come out that indicate that the younger students transmit virus at a much lower rate than older students who transmit it more like, adults, as they are young adults. So we do feel that our high school students in particular are much better equipped to be able to handle remote learning than, say, an early childhood student or lower school student. So that will be our priority. And, as positivity rates increase around us, that will be a driving factor for potentially moving high school to remote learning and maybe further segregating the cohorts into smaller groups in the younger grades as well. But also we'll be assessing what's happening here on campus. So, if we have a COVID positive case in one of the cohorts, which, again, it's upper school, middle, lower, and early childhood, then that whole cohort will go into quarantine for 2 weeks. And the individual who tested positive would have to be, cleared to be able to come back to campus. And as part of contact tracing, obviously, we would notify anyone who had been in close contact with that student so that the family could get them tested. And we would notify the entire school that there was a COVID positive case in the school and what cohort it was in. And families could make their own choice whether they would want their child to continue with the on-campus option or off-campus option if they were not part of that cohort that went into quarantine. So, I think we can take a much more strategic approach to how we operate versus a blanket just closing the school. I also believe that it's really important to have metrics by which we would choose to close or open because, just recently, some local schools made the decision to open remotely, and there's no metrics that they set out by which they would then choose to open. So, at what point would you decide when to reopen? So we want to have some really strong metrics that guide those decisions. Obviously, if the governor moves us from phase 4 to phase 3, then we'll be into remote learning school-wide until that phase goes back to phase 4. But even in phase 4, we have to be cognizant of what's happening around us to protect the health and safety of our faculty and of our students. With respect to the question about things that we might have learned during summer camp, I am going to lean on one of our administrators who actually offered a summer camp class, Darcy Aksamitowski, who is our incoming lower school head, because she was, on the front lines there and can speak to that. But it was really great, actually, first of all, having the kids back on campus. We got our systems down in terms of every student coming in every morning, attesting to being symptom-free. We've been able to beta test the app. Before we had the app, we did it as a Google form, and then taking temperatures of everybody coming into the building every day and practicing the social distancing and the mask wearing. We did learn that the youngest children were the ones who actually adapted to the mask wearing the most easily. The middle school kids needed a little bit more guidance and instruction on that. So we have learned about that. And part of our plan for starting school is actually informed by what we have learned. And that is that we are going to start school a little bit more slowly in terms of how we bring kids back the first week of school in some smaller groups so that we can really get those routines down for the kids. And we'll be talking with parents. So those parents who are on this Zoom call, you're about to hear that we're going to have a parent town hall meeting on Tuesday night to share all of this news with you. So this is brand new, hot off the press as of yesterday. But that will really help, I think, our kids get used to all of these new routines, and our faculty as well. But Darcy, would you like to share anything from your experience as a teacher during camp?
Sure. Hi, I'm Darcy Aksamitowski. I'm the lower school head. And as Adrian mentioned, I had the opportunity to teach a couple of classes over the summer. And I think that besides the logistical things that Adrian mentioned, some of the things that we've learned with the students is just the pure excitement that they show to be back, and that the resilience and the patience that is shown through the teachers, the counselors, and the students in organizing to practice routines, to slow things down, to have conversations about why we're doing things, especially with the littlest learners. I was teaching some 3rd and 4th graders, and I think that, working together to be inside and socially distance, as Adrian mentioned, there was some ideas about if the mask wearing would affect our conversations, our interaction with one another. And, to be honest, within a day of camp, most students and or counselors, you don't even realize you're wearing a mask. And just setting the tone for these routines of when you come in, you wash your hands, then you go and you do your activity, you use, hand sanitizer throughout the day, washing hands a lot, and it just became routine. And again, spending time outside we found was really valuable. We also learned to think creatively with some student voice about what activities we can do during our recess time or outside time. And what we kind of found was there's no age limit on bubbles. Everyone loves bubbles, and hula hoops have found a comeback, I'll say. So I think that, finding these activities through engagement has been really fun to add to our list of things to do during our outside recess time. So it really has been a lot of fun. And I think it just, all the teachers who have been here are just really excited to have the students back.
Thanks, Darcy. Appreciate your insight there. Are there other questions, or do any of our members of our parent or student community like to share anything about your experience at Roycemore? Maybe students who are planning to be on campus this fall. Anybody want to share your decision to do that?
Hi, my name is Chyna. I'm a rising senior. This is my 3rd year at Roycemore, so I did transfer in. I am planning to choose on campus for the fall. I'm really excited to be back. I like Roycemore because it's hands-on learning and it's very supportive. I like that I know everybody within my class and I know all of my teachers and everyone's just really helpful. So I definitely like the community feel of everything. So yeah,
Thank you, Chyna. I love your face mask. That's beautiful.
thank you.
We're getting creative with our face masks for sure. I don't see any other questions. So anyone else want to share from our community? Any of our other administrators want to share anything about the fall, or our parents here?
Hi, I'm Jessie. I just want to chime in as a parent. This is our second year at Roycemore, and we have a lower school student who's entering third grade and middle school who's entering eighth grade. And we moved from North Carolina last year, so that was our first time living here with our children in the Evanston area. And it was really a wonderful transition, I think, because Roycemore is so small. They both felt very comfortable. They got to meet lots of friends quickly, got to know their teachers really well. And I just really appreciate all the support that they received as new students. And as new parents, we also received a lot of support. And I felt that there was a lot of reaching out. And I know that this year things are different with the on-campus and off-campus options, but I am working with a group of parents, Angela, who's also on this call, and we are working on making sure that new parents and new families get welcomed into the community. So we'll hopefully be sending some emails soon, trying to hook up current parents with incoming parents or incoming families so that we can make sure you guys have any questions answered, and just so you have a buddy at school, whether we're in person or remotely. So I think that that's something that hope families will take advantage of. I felt that current families reaching out to me was really helpful, so I sort of want to replay that to the next group of families coming into the school. Thanks.
Thanks, Bessie. I appreciate you sharing your experience as a new parent and now how you're connecting with other new families. That's great. Thank you so much. There's another question that came into the Q&A, and I might ask one of our division heads to address this, or several of you. How might the remote learning differ from CPS? So for our students who are off campus, how might that differ from our CPS peers?
I can speak to that. So our class sizes are like 1/3 probably of CPS class sizes on average, right? So and also there will be less kids who are remote, right? So in a class of say 12, maybe 2 or 3 are remote. And so they'll get a lot more individual attention than they would in CPS, is I imagine, right? When you have that small number of kids, it's much easier to do that. Our teachers also know the students really well, really, really well. And so they're much more, aware of challenges and strengths, of course. And so they can really tailor what they share with those kids remotely much more to the individual student than I think many, many other schools can. That's the primary difference in my mind.
I would also chime in and mention, and I'm Adrienne Floro, I am the middle school division head. I would chime in and offer that we have a teacher who will be specifically responsible for coordinating for our off-campus students. So they'll have one go-to person that is there for them, checking in with them, coordinating as needed to really make sure that they're supported. And again, it is likely to be a small portion of a small portion. So, if you choose to be off campus, your teacher will know that, your son or daughter is a student in that class. And when they're developing their lesson plans, they're very mindful of the student and engaging them. Adrian Finley-Odell also spoke a lot about our social emotional, our mindful piece. We want to incorporate our students into our advisory and have them part of small group discussions. And to the extent possible, have them feel like they're really with us, even though they are off campus. And I feel blessed to be part of this community because we've put so much thought, energy, and work, everyone, and getting feedback from our parents and our students and our teachers to create something that I am incredibly proud to be part of, because we're really honoring the needs of all of our students, whether they be on campus or off campus. So I look forward to getting started very soon.
Thank you, Stephanie and Adrian.
And can I just jump in really fast?
And Darcy, jump in, please.
I do. I just want to clarify, just because I think this is kind of an important question, a great question, because there is all this language being thrown around and schools are using it interchangeably, but a little bit differently. So when we're thinking of on campus and off campus, that means that those two are happening at the same time. And in our plan, we have remote learning, which means that the whole school or the cohort is closed down. And so those plans are a little bit different for Roycemore in the fact that, and I saw that one of the questions was in terms of teacher time. So in the lower school, we have our daily schedule for on campus. If we were to go remote, the students would follow that same schedule, except for the lunch recess time was synchronous time. So they would still be having their one-on-one time with their teacher via a synchronous lesson, so Zoom or Google Meet, whatever is decided upon by that teacher. They would still go to their specials and have that time. Some would be video feed, but their school day would still begin at the same time and end at the same time. And that was taken from parent feedback and survey, so that remote learning time would follow that same structure. And that's a little bit different than the off-campus learning time. So I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Darcy. And I was going to say too, after we get off of the call today, to all of our families who are Zooming in to learn more about us, please do look at the website, because the full reentry plan is there, and then you can look by division at the very specific information regarding the on and off campus options. So please do look into that. There's a lot of information. The team worked really hard to put that together, and it was a very, very thoughtfully designed plan. So please do take a look at that as well. Again, it's really important to hear from our team, but also please, as a follow-up, do read that for yourself and get a visual sense of what will be happening when we open. Are there any other questions? We have a few minutes left, and again, if anyone else from our team wants to share anything else, any of our students who are here with us who haven't spoken yet, and maybe sharing something you're excited about for the fall. Marco and Eliza are here from our middle school team. We'd love to hear from you guys if you feel comfortable sharing anything.
Yeah, so
Thanks, Marco.
I'm a middle schooler. I've been at Roycemore since junior kindergarten, so it's like a long time. But so Roycemore was a really great school for me because the teachers know you so well, and I think that going back to school next year is going to be great for me because I really missed my friends last year, and it's really nice to have teachers who know you so well and that can help you in your own personal way. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Marco. Thanks for sharing. Eliza, did you have anything to add?
Like Marco said, it's like the teachers know you, and that it's like one-on-one, so if you need help with something, you can just go to them and you don't have to feel uncomfortable about it. And it's a very open thing, so you can go to your teachers and it's like they're there for you.
Thanks, Eliza. Anyone else? Any of our other parents, Anna or Angela, like to share? Radu?
Oh, I was just going to kind of go back to the whole, how is Roycemore different, like the remote learning versus like the CPS plan. And I think the most telling thing was like at the beginning, and my own naivety, that I thought, oh, we'll be remote learning for 2 weeks, we'll have spring break, we'll be back in a month, I can handle this. And just the ability of Roycemore, because it's small and there's such a great community, like once we realized that, no, we were in this for the long haul, like it changed, like remote learning changed from those first 2 weeks when we were just, and it was still good those first 2 weeks, but it was much more, it was longer, like you took our feedback seriously, like we want our kids in class longer, we want this, and I feel like it was kind of a team effort between the parents and Roycemore faculty and staff. And so just that ability to be flexible and not have the bureaucracy of like a big public system, I think that alone is a huge advantage in this strange world we find ourselves in. And I felt really like if I had a question or I had a concern, I felt like I knew exactly who I could email. I got a response, and it was, you know, because I feel like this time is stressful for everyone. Like we're anxious as parents, our kids are anxious. And I think that alone would be a selling point for me. Like, but so just kind of the difference of what you're dealing with.
Thank you, Angela. Radu or Anna, I want to give you guys an opportunity, two of our other amazing parents, to share anything you'd like.
Hi, everybody. My name is Radu. I'm a parent here. My daughter Sabrina has been at Roycemore for the past 3 years. She's going to 4th grade. What I want to say is that Roycemore has been like a family for us. Like the other parents mentioned, it's great that they have the size that allows that personal interaction, the flexibility, the passion of the teachers, the staff. That's everything. It's great, and our daughter's been had the feeling that she's part of a community, part of a family, and it's been a great experience for us for the past few years. And I encourage everybody that is interested that they're joining a family basically, and yeah, that's it's been a great experience for us. So
Thanks, Radu. Thanks for sharing. Diane, I know you're on the call as well. Diane's son is in our high school. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to share. Oh, I think you're muted. We can't hear you. Let's see here. Try and see. No, we can't hear you. There you go. Oh, can't hear you. Sorry, can't hear you, Diane. Oh well, thank you. All. Well, we're just about to the end of our event today. Like I said, I will be following up with all of you who have joined us today. We really do thank you for joining us and taking the time. There's just a lot to consider as we go into a school year that's like no other we've experienced. I think we can all say that. And again, really, really happy to have you here. And I will be following up with you after today, and happy to chat with you on an individual basis. And if you are applying or have started the process or are considering starting, we encourage you to get that moving sooner than later, because school for us does begin at the very end of the month. So the last week of August is our first week of school, and we want to make sure that we have plenty of time to move your application through so you know what to expect prior to school starting. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good